Moving on. Sometimes people will have a tendency to habitually talk from a certain location in their body, and you may not be aware of it, but you can actually change the location of where your voice is being projected from, and it's an excellent skill to make use of, because particularly for women, men sometimes won't take a woman seriously if they hear the voice only coming from here to here. Because men are used to hearing other men being behind what they're saying by speaking from here to here. So they're used to hearing a voice that's projected from more of the body. So they think someone's behind what they're saying. If they hear a voice which is only coming from here to here, they think they aren't serious. They aren't behind what they're saying. So if you actually want to change your assertiveness, one of the simple things to do is actually change where you talk from. So as a way of exercising that, you'll stand up. So you have to use your imagination slightly with this, and imagine your voice projecting from here to begin with. So place your fingers on your forehead and say, "This is my forehead. This is my nose. These are my lips. This is my throat. This is my chest. This is my belly." Okay, have a seat. And what did you notice? Well, what was your experience? It doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that would be a thing for you to practice. You can literally just do what we just did as a way of practicing where you project your voice from.
I probably would have done it, I just thought we had to still talk from that part.
Okay. How did the rest of you find that?
By the time we got to your tummy, I was really doing it. Yeah, I did that at work, but I didn't realise what it was. But really, you know, I just thought that was this is like going into mummy mode. No, you need to do that now. An adult at the school's giving you an instruction and you need to follow it. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does make sense because I can remember what it feels like.
Yeah. So men in particular experience that as a more solid communication because they will feel like there's more of the person behind the communication.
I was actually teaching soldiers in Germany, and they actually commented on how well they could hear me from the other side of the class, simply because I was using my diaphragm more than my throat.
Yeah.
To talk to them.
Yeah. Well, in a movie recently about Margaret Thatcher, she was coached on how to change her voice because no one took her seriously. And they said she had a whiny, well, I think she did have an irritating voice, but to begin with it was very whiny because she spoke from up here, and then she changed her voice and became, you know, one of the most powerful women.
Because he was a high pitched, squeaky.
Did you change that?
Yeah, he used to have training to bring it right down so he could represent England and do because nobody was taking him seriously.
No.
You know.
Yeah, it sounded like a little boy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So it's worth practicing.
Do people sort of do that more naturally anyway then? Because I think if I was probably just having a joke around and messing around, I'd probably just speak more higher pitched. But if I am more serious, I do probably speak from that stuff.
Yeah. If I want to say things that aren't serious, I will change my voice, definitely. Yeah, so we do tend to do that. So if you learn to do these things with conscious will and volition, what it can do though is give you a broader range of people that you can communicate with. So really for women, you only really need time to get your voice to around down here. If you can get it down to here, then that's okay too, but it doesn't suit everyone. Yeah, yeah. And then also the speed that you talk at, because people do have all kinds of different speeds that they'll actually speak at, and so if you actually learn and practice to use your voice at different rates and tempos, you will be able to get rapport with a greater range of people, because some people just love to talk fast and you need to practice that.
It's exhausting listening to people talk fast.
Yeah? And then the quality of the voice. You know, some people have like a kind of raspiness to their voice, and that certain character that comes from just the way that they're enunciating.
That's Paul McKenna, he's like that, isn't he? He accentuates everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In fact, you sounded like Paul McKenna then.
Oh no.
Really, I
You will think yourself slim. No, thin, isn't it? He says thin, which I think's horrible. Why do you want to be thin? Should be slim. Anyway. And then loudness. Some people are just a bit louder than others, and sometimes people only feel like they're really being met if you have the same kind of volume as them. Otherwise they think, oh yeah, that person, oh, they need to liven up a bit, or they need to change in some way. So volume is important. Now, one of the things to help you tune into voices is just going to show you how easy it is to actually pick up loads of information from someone's voice. So who would like to volunteer for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if you come and sit on the high chair, facing the window, and I'm going to face this way. So all I'm doing then is making use of my hearing. And can I ask you to think of someone you dislike? Can you think of someone you dislike?
Yes.
And then count to 10 out loud whilst thinking of that person for me, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Brilliant, thank you. And then have a look around the room and tell me how many plants are in the room.
3.
Excellent. And then think of someone you really like.
Yep.
Excellent. And now count to 10 as you think of that person.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, so quite a dramatic difference actually. It's probably the easiest one ever. Okay, so how many light bulbs are in the room?
3.
Thank you. Now think of one of the people, just pick one, and then count to 10 out loud.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, so by the change in tempo, I would say it's a person that you dislike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you can think of the good person now, the nice person, just to feel good. So, any questions about that? Good, because now you're going to get into groups of 2, sit back to back. A is going to think of someone to begin with that they dislike, and then count from 0 to 10, 1 to 10, count to 10, and then you distract the person. So that was why I said how many plants are in the room, how many light bulbs are in the room. So it gets the mind cleared, really. And then you ask them to think of someone they like, and you ask them to count to 10 out loud. And only when you feel or think you've spotted the difference, because sometimes the difference won't be as pronounced as it was with Peppy to begin with. If you feel that you need to ask them again, just ask them again till you've got it logged in your mind what is the difference between the two voices. And I wouldn't discuss it with the other person because you'll then influence them and they might change how they speak. So just literally say, oh, could I ask you to think of the one that you dislike, and say out loud the numbers as you count to 10, and then clear the screen in your mind. How many light bulbs? What's your phone number backwards? And then think of the one you like, count to 10, and then make sure you got the difference. And then once you are clear what the difference is, ask them to just think of one or the other and count out loud, and then tell them who it is. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you want, you can touch back to back, because you'll get a little bit more information through the vibrations passing between the body. But I did that deliberately to just show that you can literally do it just through listening to tone of voice.